Picture yourself on the brink of World War III, where the battlefield is not just a physical scape, but a realm of the mind, a place where the stakes are not merely survival, but the triumph of your soul's intent. Consider Caesar crossing the Rubicon not with an army alone, but with the audacity of a thought that history would bend to his will. In this war of the future, your weapon is not a sword, but the sharpness of your mental clarity, for it is the mind that carves out victory before the battle begins. Study the men who shaped empires, their common thread, a mind unyielding to the chaos around them. Napoleon saw beyond the horizon of his time, building castles first in his vision. In the face of impending conflict, ask this: will you be the pawn or the player? The difference lies in your resolve to master your emotions, to transform fear into a catalyst, not a cage. As the storm gathers, remember your thoughts are the seeds of your destiny. Cultivate them wisely, for they will grow into the future you command. Inexorable odds, he did not flinch, for he knew that the battlefield was first won within the corridors of his mind. The future belongs to those who prepare for it today. Consider Winston Churchill, who stood resolute when dark clouds loomed over Europe. His strength lay not in mere rhetoric, but in the unshakable belief that Britain's spirit was undefeatable. Men like him remind us that in tumultuous times, clarity of thought carves paths through the chaos. Yet it is not enough to merely survive, one must thrive. Understand this: adversity is the forge of greatness. Julius Caesar crossed the Rubicon not blindly, but with conviction, knowing his dreams of Rome rested on his courage to defy convention. In the shadows of doubt, those who dare to dream with audacity become the architects of history. So arm yourself with the wisdom of ages past. Let your mind be a fortress, impenetrable to fear, unyielding to despair. For in the theater of war, it is the mind that wields the true power, crafting destiny with each deliberate thought. Hours of doubt. He saw the light of destiny. Like Caesar, the true victor of World War III will not be the one who wields the most weapons, but the one who commands the battlefield of the mind. What are your Rubicons? The seemingly insurmountable obstacles that demand your boldest actions. History's tapestry is woven by men who dared to confront the impossible. Think of Alexander, who spread Hellenistic culture across continents, not with sheer might, but with the audacity of vision. His empire, though fleeting, left an indelible legacy. The battles you face are not mere skirmishes, but opportunities to etch your mark on eternity. Yet remember the trenches of the Great War, where men discovered their deepest fears. It is in these trenches of life you must cultivate resilience, where the seeds of triumphant futures are sown. In those darkest moments, your mind must rise as the general of your soul, orchestrating victory over despair. Now stand tall, for the future is not a distant dream, but a field ripe for conquest. Act with purpose, live with passion, and know that the war of the mind is the greatest battle you will ever fight. Its conquests were not merely expansions, but transformations, turning barren lands into thriving centers of culture and innovation. In the crucible of World War III, you must be the alchemist, turning the lead of conflict into the gold of opportunity. Consider Winston Churchill, standing resilient against the tides of tyranny. His weapon was not just artillery, but an indomitable spirit. He said, "Success is not final, failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts." In the theater of global strife, your greatest ally is the fortress of your mind. Fortify it with resolve and purpose, for the winds of chaos will test your foundations. The key to victory lies not in brute force, but in strategic foresight. Reflect on the unyielding resolve of Mandela, who transformed a nation from within the confines of a cell. The battlefield is not only external, but internal. Conquer your doubts and fears before you confront the world. As you march forward, remember history is a canvas, and you hold the brush. Paint your legacy with the colors of courage and wisdom. The weapons of war, but in the strategic calculus of your spirit. Consider Hannibal, who led his army through the Alps with elephants at his side, not by force alone, but by the indomitable will to redefine what seemed impossible. In navigating World War III, remember that each conflict may be fought with bombs and armies, yet the decisive battles occur within the corridors of your mind. The greatest generals have always known that to conquer the world, one must first conquer oneself. Recall the tale of Churchill, who turned a nation's despair into defiance not by might, but through words that ignited the flame of courage in every heart. His resilience was his weapon, and his mind a bastion against tyranny. As the storm of war brews, ask yourself, are you the architect of your destiny or merely a pawn in life's chaotic game? The heroes of history were those who seized their fate by the horns and molded it with unyielding vision. Now let us stride forward with the same audacity, for victory favors those who dare to dream fearlessly. It was his fortress. Picture yourself in the throes of a personal battle, a war that tests your very essence. You are not unlike Alexander the Great, who faced the vast Persian Empire with nothing but fierce determination and a vision unclouded by fear. He knew that the power to conquer the world begins with the conquest of your own mind. When you stand at the crossroads of uncertainty and ambition, remember the night Lincoln spent in agony, finding resolve within the shadows to lead a divided nation. It is within these crucibles of adversity that true leaders are forged. Like a blacksmith shaping steel, every challenge is an opportunity to mold your mind into an unbreakable force. Take action, for action is the root from which all achievement blossoms. As Caesar crossed the Rubicon, leaving the shores of indecision behind, so must you commit wholly to your purpose. The world may tremble with chaos, but within your spirit lies an unyielding calm, a storm of resolve ready to conquer any battlefield. The battlefield of the future is not just on the ground, but in the mind. Consider Hannibal, who crossed the Alps not just with elephants, but with an unyielding spirit. It wasn't the terrain that conquered his enemies, but the terrain of his thoughts. As Sun Tzu proclaimed, the supreme art of war is to subdue the enemy without fighting. Victory belongs to those who transform obstacles into stepping stones, who see each setback as a setup for a grander comeback. Picture the moment when Churchill, surrounded by the shadows of despair, roared, "We shall fight on the beaches." He transformed fear into fuel, igniting a nation's soul with indomitable courage. In the coming storm of World War III, it is not the weapons you wield, but the will you harness that will define your fate. The mind, sharper than any sword, is your greatest ally. To master it, one must first embrace the silence within, where true strategy is born. Embrace this truth. Your mind is your kingdom. Govern it wisely and let no invader breach its gates. In the crucible of conflict, it is not the strongest who prevail, but the most adaptable. Consider Alexander the Great, whose empire stretched across continents, not by force alone, but by fusing diverse cultures into a single vision. His brilliance lay in turning potential adversaries into allies, a testament to the power of unity and diversity. This is the alchemy of leadership, transforming disparate elements into a formidable whole. Rewind to the trenches of World War I, where the stalemate seemed eternal. Those who dared to envision beyond the horizon, who dared to think differently, were the architects of victory. Their minds were weapons, sharp and relentless, cutting through despair with the precision of a surgeon's blade. In our modern battlefield, whether in the boardroom or on the world stage, the same principles apply. Harness the chaos. Let setbacks be the anvil upon which your resolve is forged. Every challenge is an opportunity unmasked. Rise not as a mere participant in the game of life, but as its master architect. Principle applies. Control the battlefield of your mind, and you control the world. Picture Alexander the Great standing at the banks of the Granicus River, outnumbered yet undeterred. His vision pierced the veil of doubt, seeing not the size of the Persian army, but the strength of his purpose. Fast forward to today, where your adversary is not a foreign legion but a tide of distractions. You must wage war against complacency with the fervor of Churchill, who turned the tide through sheer indomitable will. The stakes may differ, yet the principles of victory remain. Understand this. Every setback, every moment of hesitation is a shadow cast by fear. Do not cower. Let these shadows fuel your resolve. In the crucible of adversity, forge your resilience, as Caesar did when crossing the Rubicon, irrevocably committing to his destiny. Embrace your own Rubicon. Make decisions with the clarity of Spartans at Thermopylae, knowing that legacy is built in moments of defiance. Now rise with intent, for the battle is won within before it ever touches the realm of the scene. Consider the storm-tossed vessel, its captain staring into the abyss. In World War III of the mind, you are that captain, your compass, the wisdom of ages past that whispers through the corridors of history. When Hannibal faced the Alps, he did not see impossibility. He perceived opportunity cloaked in challenge, a chance to carve a path where none existed. In those moments, your character is not just tested, but defined. Understand this. Your thoughts are legions, each one a soldier, each decision a battle cry. The great leaders knew the secret strategy begins in the mind. Napoleon charted victories first in his imagination before ever on the battlefield. In your quest, fear will seek a foothold. But remember, it is merely a shadow cast by the mind. Confront it with the unwavering eye of Alexander taming Bucephalus. Transform doubt into the chisel that carves your indomitable spirit. Action is the bridge from vision to reality. Step forward, for a single stride taken with resolve reshapes the world. Nation, long before they echoed through the fields of battle, it is not mere chance that decides the fate of nations, but the calculated chessboard of intellect and willpower. Remember Alexander the Great, who saw continents as his playground, crafting his empire not just with force, but with vision that transcended horizons. In our looming conflicts, strategy is not forged in the chaos of gunfire, but in the silent corridors of thought where the future is sculpted. Study the past. It is a mirror reflecting the rhythms of power where men like Churchill stood firm, wielding words as weapons in the darkest hours. The mind is a fortress, and your beliefs are its walls. Strengthen them with wisdom drawn from the annals of history, for therein lies the blueprint of victory. Face your challenges not with fear, but with the quiet confidence of a master strategist, knowing that every setback is merely a step in the grand design. Forge alliances in the realm of ideas, for it is mental resilience that will ultimately conquer the tides of conflict. With the audacity of Caesar, who crossed the Rubicon, knowing retreat was never an option. Greatness is born in the crucible of decision, at the precipice where doubt threatens to overwhelm. In the heat of World War III, understand this: every battle is first won or lost in the mind. Recall how Churchill, with words as his weapon, rallied a nation amidst the shadows of despair. He understood the alchemy of turning fear into resolve, pessimism into power. The secret, the unwavering belief in an outcome beyond the storm. Your mind must be a general directing its troops. Your thoughts, each one a soldier trained in discipline, ready to march forward despite the chaos. As in the trenches of Verdun, survival is for those who adapt swiftly, see opportunity in adversity, and press forward where others retreat. Harness the spirit of Mandela, who upon emerging from the darkness of imprisonment saw not vengeance but a future molded by his vision of unity. So stand firm on the battlefield of life, a strategist of the soul, forging destiny through the indomitable power of your mind. Artness taught us that freedom is a fortress built within the mind. The battlefields of life demand tenacity unrivaled, where your greatest weapon is not forged of steel, but of steadfast belief. Consider the great Hannibal, who dared to cross the Alps with elephants. He defied the impossible because he understood that fortune favors the audacious. His triumphs were not mere victories of war, but of willpower. Each step forward was a defiance against doubt, a testament to his unyielding spirit. In this modern theater of conflict, your mission is clear. Sculpt your mind with precision and purpose. The adversaries you face are not only external, but lurk within, whispering fears and uncertainties. Let the resolve of Churchill inspire you. His steadfastness in the darkest hours of World War II teaches us that courage is the armor of the soul. You must become your own general, orchestrating strategies and summoning courage as your allies, for in the pursuit of greatness, the battlefield is your mind. As you stand on this precipice, remember the tale of Hannibal, who dared to cross the Alps. His army, battered by ice and enemy, embodied resolve. He knew that strength lay not only in numbers, but in the vision guiding them. Embrace the battlefield within, where doubt and conviction clash like titans. Your mind is a fortress. Its gates must be guarded with the discipline of a Roman legion. Here the real war wages, a test of your true mettle. History whispers a truth. The victories of Napoleon were not solely of cannon fire, but of strategic foresight, a chess game of empires played in the mind. He understood that timing was the sharpest sword, and patience was his shield. Now listen closely. Your future echoes the fall of empires and rise of kings. Analyze your fears and ambitions, for they are the architects of your destiny. Channel the audacity of Alexander, who saw not the limits of his realm, but the expanse of his dream. Action is the lifeblood of the conqueror. With each step, forge your path, unyielding as the tides, relentless as the sun. Sword, a revelation that echoes through the annals of power. In the crucible of conflict, clarity emerges. When Truman faced the dawn of atomic reality, it was not the bomb that struck fear, but the resolve behind it. The true battleground lies within. It is the conquest of the self that shapes destinies. The Spartans, masters of mental discipline, knew that victory begins in the mind long before it manifests on the field. When Churchill stared down the Blitz, it was the steadfast spirit of a lion heart, the unyielding belief in defiance that turned night into day, chaos into order. Understand that your greatest arsenal is not found in the might of arms, but in the conviction of your purpose. Harness the power of unwavering intent, for it is the compass that guides warriors through the storm. Like the currents that shape the oceans, let your will be the force that navigates the tides of fate. Stand firm and let the echoes of history remind you that every great conquest begins with the belief in the impossible. Is not your weaponry, but your unwavering will. History's titans, like Alexander at Gaugamela, knew victory was born first in the mind. Such mental fortitude is your mantle. Picture Hannibal scaling the Alps, not with brute force, but with the genius of strategy and the courage of conviction. His vision led men beyond fear's grasp. In the theater of war, as in life, it is the unseen battles within that shape destiny. The Spartans' mastery lay not just in their spear, but in the mastery of self, knowing when to strike and when to wait. Master your mind's battlefield, for there lies the genesis of power. Our future's architects will not wield mere might, but the clarity to discern opportunity in adversity. Recall Julius Caesar standing at the Rubicon, his decision a testament to resolve. As he crossed, he knew retreat was impossible. In your crossroads, let doubt be your ally, pushing you toward greatness. Withdraw. History is a symphony of calculated movements, and we must become its conductors, orchestrating our will with precision. Picture Hannibal, leading his elephants over the Alps, not deterred by the impossible, but fueled by it. His was a mind unyielding to adversity, a testament to resilience. In this modern theater of uncertainty, our battles are fought with the invisible weapons of thought and strategy. We stand at the precipice of World War III, a conflict not just of nations, but of minds. Every decision is a ripple, every thought a catalyst. Remember Alexander the Great, who saw not the vastness of Persia, but the opportunity to redefine the known world. His vision was his conquest, and so must yours be. Craft your mental fortress, for it is within these walls that victory is born. As we march forward, let fear be your advisor, not your master. Harness it, channel its energy, and transform it into the fuel of your ambition. The future favors the bold, those who dare to think beyond the horizon of today. In the crucible of history, where battles were waged and empires forged, it was not the sword that decided fate, but the mind wielding it. Alexander the Great knew this as he stood before the massive walls of Tyre, undaunted by their height. He saw not an obstacle, but an opportunity, a testament to his indomitable will and strategic genius. Today, as the specter of World War III looms, we find ourselves in a new arena where the greatest victories are secured in the realm of thought. It is here that legends are born, where leaders like Churchill, against insurmountable odds, inspired a beleaguered nation to stand firm. In this battlefield of the mind, every doubt is a Trojan horse, every fear an assassin in the night. Recognize them, dismantle them, and in their place, construct a fortress of unyielding resolve. Action is the alchemy that transforms potential into power. Just as the phoenix rises from its ashes, so too must you rise, unbroken, ready to shape the destiny that awaits. Chill transformed doubts into rallying cries, weaving unity from chaos. The battlefield of the modern world demands intellect as much as it does strength. In the shadows of doubt, the light of strategy beckons. Consider Alexander, who faced the insurmountable with a mind sharp as his blade. His empire was not forged by might alone, but by the relentless pursuit of knowledge. His victories echoed from the corridors of his mind to the plains of conquest. Imagine standing at the edge of a precipice where fear seeks to paralyze. It is in this crucible that one's true mettle is tested. Will you remain as a reed in the wind or stand firm like an oak in the storm? Future champions, seize this moment. The world awaits not just those who dare to dream, but those who dare to act. For inaction is the silent thief of destiny, and hesitation the companion of regret. Step forward with conviction, armed with the vision of a brighter dawn. Your resolve is the sword that will carve paths through the unknown, setting the stage for a new era of triumph. The storm. Consider Hannibal, who faced the Alps not as insurmountable peaks, but as stepping stones to conquest. He transformed obstacles into opportunities, his mind forged in the relentless fires of ambition. Reflect upon Churchill. When shadows of despair cloaked Europe, his speeches ignited not just nations, but a global resolve. His words were weapons, each syllable a soldier in the battle for hope. In the forge of adversity, clarity is born. The mind, unshackled by doubt, becomes a fortress of possibility. This is your call to arms, an invitation to shape destiny, not submit to it. Summon the spirit of Caesar, who crossed the Rubicon with no retreat in mind, embodying the power of decisive action. In your world, hesitation is the enemy, and boldness the ally. The battlefield is not always marked by trenches and banners. Often, it lies within the struggle against self-imposed limitations and fears. Arm yourself with courage, for it is the shield against mediocrity. Spirit of the great conquerors, those who faced chaos and emerged as titans of their time. Reflect on Alexander, who wept for worlds to conquer. His vision was not confined by the horizon he saw, but rather expanded by the possibilities he imagined. In the throes of World War III, you must become the architect of your own victories. Like Eisenhower, who meticulously planned the Normandy invasion, your strategy must be forged in the crucible of foresight. Anticipate not just the enemy's moves, but your own evolution. But strategy alone is not enough. You must cultivate the mental resilience of Churchill, who amidst the ruins of blitzed London proclaimed defiance and hope. In the darkest hours, he understood that true strength is born in the soul's refusal to yield. Harness your fears, for they are the raw materials of courage. Transform doubt into a weapon of insight. Each challenge is a stepping stone, not a stumbling block. Forge your path with the relentless determination of those who reshape the world. Thought. As the storm of conflict gathers, remember the great Roman general Scipio Africanus, who turned the tide against Hannibal not through brute force, but with the finesse of a chess master altering destiny one move at a time. In the theater of war, the battlefield is not just land or sea, it is the mind. It is here, in the shadowy corridors of thought, where true victories are won or lost. Your mental resilience becomes the bedrock of triumph. Consider Winston Churchill, who faced a world ablaze with chaos. His weapon was unwavering resolve, his shield the indomitable spirit of a nation. He looked into the abyss of despair and declared, "We shall never surrender." In the war of life, you are the general of your fate. Craft your strategies with the precision of Napoleon at Austerlitz, where every step, every decision was a masterstroke in the art of war. Awaken your dormant fire, for in the crucible of adversity, greatness is not discovered, but forged. When others falter, you must rise like a phoenix, relentless and unyielding. Would never surrender. In those words, he carved a narrative of defiance, one that transformed the tides of history. It wasn't mere rhetoric, it was a battle cry that ignited the hearts of millions. In the theater of war, victory is born in the mind long before it's claimed on the battlefield. When the world spins into turmoil, the few who stand unyielding are those who understand the profound power of belief. Consider Alexander the Great, who at the age of not even 20 inherited a divided kingdom. Yet with vision sharper than any sword, he forged an empire that stretched from Greece to the distant corners of Asia. His conquests were not the workings of mere force, but of relentless ambition and strategic brilliance. Alexander knew that fear, like a fleeting shadow, only holds sway over those who bow to it. The leaders who sculpt history comprehend this truth. In the darkest hours, when the drumbeats of conflict echo through the soul, it is the mind that must wield the ultimate command, steering destiny through the storm. The tale of Alexander does not end at his victories, but in the fire of his ambition. He conquered not with sheer force, but with unparalleled strategy, understanding that power begins in the mind. Imagine the world as a chessboard, where each move demands foresight and courage. Consider Hannibal crossing the Alps, defying nature itself to surprise his enemies. He taught us that audacity, married to preparation, births miracles. The true battlefield lies within your psyche, where courage and fear wage eternal war. Victory belongs to those who master their inner kingdom, who silence doubt with the roar of purpose. In the chronicles of history, those who wielded power did so by embracing the edge of discomfort, turning obstacles into stepping stones. Reflect on Churchill's unwavering resolve during the Blitz, when London stood not just against bombs, but against despair. His mind became a fortress, unyielding, a beacon of resilience. Now envision your own battles. Stand firm as a strategist of spirit, an architect of destiny. Now envision yourself at the helm of your own destiny, as Churchill did amidst the chaos of the Blitz. The city burned, yet his spirit roared louder than the flames. In the crucible of conflict, he forged a narrative of victory, not through denial, but by embracing reality with ironclad will. This is your call to arms. When your world trembles, remember, resilience is not the absence of fear, but the mastery of it. The greatest general sculpted triumph from the clay of adversity. Consider Hannibal, who led elephants over the Alps, defying nature's barriers. His strategy was audacity married to preparation, so you must plan and act. In your own battles, know that obstacles are not your enemy. They are the stepping stones to greatness. Each setback is a test of your resolve. The mind, when fortified with belief and vision, can turn the tides of war. You must wield your thoughts as a sword and shield, crafting your own victory. Are you ready to stand in the furnace of history and emerge as its architect? The choice is yours. Shape it with unyielding courage. In the tides of history, men like Alexander, Caesar, and Churchill understood that the fiercest battlefields were not lands but minds. In World War III, your true theater of war is the realm of thought, where conviction forges destiny. In these tumultuous times, let the echoes of Hannibal marching elephants over the Alps inspire you. He didn't see mountains, he saw opportunity, and so must you. The greatest generals defeated not armies but limitations of their own imagination. Consider the silent battles fought by visionaries like Nikola Tesla, who turned skepticism into sparks of innovation. Your fiercest weapons are ideas, imagination, and the indomitable spirit to transcend conventional limits. When despair strikes, remember the resilience of Roosevelt, who turned the paralysis of his body into the strength of a nation. Your setbacks are the raw material from which you will forge your legacy. Decide now, will you be a passive observer of fate or the architect of your own triumph? The choice is yours, and it begins in the mind. Think of Alexander the Great, whose empire stretched across continents, built not just by might, but by his mind's blueprint of conquest. In the theater of war, whether on the battlefield or within the self, strategy is your compass, guiding you through chaos to clarity. Understand that every great leader, from Winston Churchill to Martin Luther King Jr., faced storms of doubt, yet their vision became a lighthouse. They employed the ancient art of mental fortitude, turning obstacles into stepping stones, forging destiny with every calculated step. Imagine a chessboard, the pieces set for World War III, a game of intellect, patience, and bold moves. Your mind is the ultimate grand master. Harness the power of decisive action. Let it echo through time as Julius Caesar's crossing of the Rubicon signaled a new era. What if I told you that your dreams are the silent architects of your reality? Stir them to life with unyielding resolve. Channel the unwavering focus of a samurai whose blade never falters, whose mind never wavers. This is your legacy waiting to be written. Liddy, in the crucible of conflict, the heart of a warrior beats with ambition, a force as real as Hannibal's audacious march over the Alps. Consider the moment when Churchill, against all odds, rallied a nation with words that ignited a flame of resilience across a beleaguered Britain. This is the alchemy of leadership, transforming fear into fortitude, doubt into dominance. The battlefield of tomorrow is not just terrain of earth and steel, but of will and wit. To triumph in World War III, you must first conquer the shadows within your own mind. History is replete with the tales of those who dared to defy the limitations imposed by circumstance. Alexander, whose empire spanned continents, was driven by a singular vision, a testament to the power of unwavering clarity. In the theater of conflict, your actions must be as deliberate as a swordsman's strike, precise and purposeful. Do not wait for the tides of destiny to favor you. Seize the helm and steer with unyielding resolve. Remember, the mind is the forge where the weapons of victory are crafted. Unyielding resolve, for in the crucible of chaos, the boldest spirits find their form. Reflect upon Hannibal, who marched elephants through the Alps, defying nature itself to challenge Rome's might. His was a plan born in the fires of audacity, an emblem of human will against insurmountable odds. In the landscape of the mind, your limits are but shadows cast by doubt. Picture the indomitable spirit of Churchill during the Blitz. His words a fortress when walls crumbled. He knew that in words lay sorcery to summon courage where fear reigned. So too must you learn the alchemy of persuasion both within and without. Now discern the patterns of power, history's pendulum swings, driven by those who gaze into the storm and see opportunity where others see only peril. The time to act is not tomorrow, but in the heartbeat of now. Channel the relentless focus of Alexander, who wept for worlds yet unconquered. The battlefield you face may be unseen, an internal war waged with doubts and distractions. Yet, like all battles, victory favors the prepared, the resolute, and the visionary. The hammer of resolve, striking against the anvil of adversity. The fires of war are not only fought on the fields, but within the soul. Imagine Caesar crossing the Rubicon, his choice echoing through time, a testament to the power of decisive action. In the crucible of conflict, your clarity becomes your compass. When Alexander faced the Gordian knot, he did not unravel it. He severed it decisively. So must you cut through the tangles of hesitation. History is not written by the cautious, but by those who understand the alchemy of risk and vision. The world remembers those who dared to command the tides of fate, transforming obstacles into stepping stones. As you stand on the brink of your own battles, grasp the lessons of the past and forge them into the sword of your future. The battlefield is not a place, it is a state of mind, a relentless pursuit of victory over the self. Your thoughts are your legions. Marshal them wisely, and the world shall bend to your will. In stones towards greatness. Consider Alexander, who stood at the gates of the unknown, unyielding before the vastness of the world. His conquests were not mere battles, but symphonies of strategic brilliance, conducted by a mind that refused to accept limitation. In the crucible of war, it is the mind that wields the power to turn chaos into creation. The Battle of Thermopylae teaches us resilience in the face of overwhelming odds. Leonidas knew defeat was inevitable, yet his bold stand echoed through eternity, inspiring the ages. To triumph in World War III, you must embody a mentality of unbreakable resolve. Study the chessboard of life, each decision a move, each moment a chance to rewrite your destiny. It's not brute force, but the precision of thought that will guide you through the storm. Now ignite the fire of your ambition. Let your dreams be the compass, and your courage the wind that fills your sails. Remember, history is not a record of what happened, but a testament of what could be achieved. Step forth and claim your legacy. Veritable, yet he crafted a legacy through sheer will, proving that true victory transcends the battlefield. Consider Hannibal, who led his elephants across Alps, defying nature itself to challenge Rome. He understood that audacity shatters limits. His courage was a weapon, his ambition a compass guiding him through impossible terrains. As we stand on the brink of World War III, let us remember these titans not as relics, but as beacons. They remind us that the wars of tomorrow are won today within the fortress of our mind. In this realm, you must embrace the paradox of fear and courage, for they are two sides of the same coin. Fear sharpens the senses, but courage commands them. To lead, you must first conquer the battlefield within. The power of your thoughts is the strategic advantage. Imagine Churchill in his darkest hour, his voice a clarion call that rallied a nation. He knew that words are weapons. They forge resolve, inspire action, and ignite change. Harness this power, speak your intentions boldly and with unwavering certainty. Station and transform fear into unyielding courage. In the crucible of conflict, men like Churchill exemplified the alchemy of thought into action. As bombs fell, his mind sharpened, a beacon of unwavering conviction. The secret lies in the art of mental warfare, a battle as fierce as any fought on fields of stone and steel. The generals of tomorrow harness the invisible arsenal of the psyche, crafting visions that transcend mere survival. Alexander the Great conquered not just lands but hearts, wielding charisma like a sword. His belief in destiny was his compass, undeterred by doubt. In every age, the legends are those who venture beyond fear's shadow. The world waits for new architects of destiny. Your thoughts are the blueprints, your resolve the cornerstone. In the face of looming adversity, a mere mortal becomes a titan through sheer will and vision. This is your hour to shape history, to rise above the mundane and claim your place among the giants of lore. Fortify your mind. Steer the course of fate with unerring focus. The battlefield of the soul is yours to conquer. On the known, armed with visions that others dare not dream. Picture Winston Churchill, a man who stood firm while others faltered. His voice, echoing through the corridors of time, was a beacon of resilience. When London was cloaked in smoke, He summoned courage, transforming fear into fuel. Consider the words he spoke. We shall fight on the beaches, not as mere rhetoric, but as an anthem of the indomitable spirit. Every syllable was a call to action, a reminder that true power lies not in the absence of fear, but in the mastery over it. Now look to the future, where the battlefield may not be land, but the mind. In the coming storm, those who will succeed are those who prepare their inner fortress for siege. They will become the architects of their destiny, unyielding to the chaos around them. For what is war if not a dance of shadows where the mind's clarity becomes the ultimate weapon? The battlefield may change, yet the principles remain: vision, courage, and relentless pursuit. What will you arm yourself with? In the weapons of war, but within the fortress of the mind. Recall the stormy seas upon which Churchill stood, not cowed by the mighty waves, but emboldened by them. He wielded courage as his weapon, understanding that the tides of destiny bow to those who can harness their own inner tempest. It is here, amidst chaos, that leaders are forged. The lesson echoes in history's halls in the crucible of conflict. Clarity becomes your compass. Like Lincoln steering a fractured nation with unwavering purpose, you too must navigate your inner battles. Confront doubt not with fear, but with the audacity of vision. Imagine a future molded by your design, and let no shadow of uncertainty dim its brilliance. As Alexander gazed across the vastness of Persia, he saw not obstacles but opportunities. His map was drawn by dreams, not by doubt. Thus, when the drums of World War III sound, let your heart beat in time, not with dread, but with the rhythm of resilience. Harness the lessons of history and write your own legacy upon the canvas of time. Climb with the rhythm of purpose. Remember, courage is the compass that charts the unknown. In the crucible of conflict, the resilient mind becomes tempered steel. Like Churchill, who led with unwavering resolve, understand that shadows flee from the torch of tenacity. History whispers the secrets of those who dared to carve their destiny from the stone of adversity. As Rome rose from the ashes of its past, so too can you rise beyond the confines of fear. Harness the fire of your vision. Let it be a beacon in the darkest nights. Just as Franklin harnessed lightning, so must you harness your inner storms. Let your strategies be as adaptable as water, for rigidity is the downfall of empires. In the art of war, fluidity triumphs over the fixed. When the world trembles, stand firm as the unyielding oak, rooted in principles as ancient as the earth itself. Know that the battlefield is not merely of flesh and blood, but of mind and spirit. The victors of tomorrow are forged in the crucibles of today's resolve. Remember, the tides of conflict are like a relentless sea. They test the fortitude of every commander. In this chaos, draw wisdom from Alexander at Gaugamela. His genius lay not in numbers, but in the adaptive force of his strategy. As the battle swirled, he saw possibilities, not obstacles. Picture yourself in the storm's eye, where clarity sharpens amidst the tempest. This is your domain, where the mind's resilience wins wars before they ever begin. Consider the power of foresight, that intangible force wielded by Eisenhower during D-Day's planning. It was not strength of arms alone, but the precision of vision and depth of conviction that turned the tide. Do not wait for the storm to pass, but command it to your will. The world will bow to those who forge certainty from uncertainty, who see in every adversity the seeds of opportunity. In the crucible of war, it's your mental arsenal that must be sharpened. Forge alliances with the future, where today's struggles are but stepping stones to tomorrow's triumphs. The tide of history. True strength lies not in the might of weapons, but in the clarity of purpose. Picture Julius Caesar, who crossed the Rubicon with resolute vision, knowing well that point of no return. In that moment, he wielded the invisible power of decision, an unyielding force. Understand this. Foresight is the general's compass. In World War III, it will not be the strongest nations that prevail, but those who harness the unseen currents of strategy, those who, like Churchill, dare to envision the world not as it is, but as it could be. Consider the mind of a chess master anticipating moves not yet made, seeing possibilities where others see chaos. This is your battlefield, where the sharpest weapon is your intellect, honed through the trials of foresight and enlightened action. Now rise with your own Rubicon before you. The future you craft awaits not in mere reaction, but in the deliberate sculpting of destiny. Let foresight be your guidepost, and see beyond the horizon of the probable into the realm of the possible. Underestimate not the silent strategist, for it is the quiet minds that wield the sharpest swords. In the shadows of modern warfare, prowess is birthed not from brute force, but from the wisdom of anticipation. Reflect upon Caesar, who did not merely conquer lands with legions, but with the foresight of a man who saw destiny in every choice. His empire was a testament to the vision that transcended the battlefield. In the crucible of World War III, the victors will be those who master the alchemy of thought, turning fear into the fuel of triumph. Consider the mind as your finest weapon, as adaptable as the tides. When Hannibal crossed the Alps, it was not the enormity of his army that astounded Rome, but the audacity of his plan. Your greatest battles are not fought with armies, but with ideas that dare to defy the impossible. Action, therefore, must be married to insight. Let each decision be a step in your tapestry of triumph, where every thread is woven with the golden fiber of foresight and resolve. Picture Alexander the Great, standing before lands unknown, his gaze not on the battlefield, but on the horizon of possibility. His mind was his ally, his thoughts the architects of empires. In World War III, your battleground is your mind. The sword may cut, but it is the strategist who wins the war. Think of Franklin D. Roosevelt, whose resolve during the darkest hours reshaped destiny itself. He turned a nation's despair into fervent hope, not by chance, but by channeling the storm within into a beacon of courage. This is the transmutation of fear into power, a universal law of greatness. Visualize your fear as the raw material of your personal alchemy. Forge it in the fires of determination, and from those flames emerge as the master of your fate. Recognize the battles fought within are the prelude to the victories seen without. It is this resilience, this unwavering belief in the potential within, that turns the tides of any conflict. Now rise, for it is your moment to command the greatest army of all, your thoughts. Think of Hannibal at the gates of Rome, a strategist of unparalleled audacity, his mind a crucible of courage. In every challenge, see what he did. Not just an enemy, but opportunity wrapped in adversity. History whispers of those who dared to rise when others feared to tread. They understood that the mind is a battlefield where the war is won before it's fought. Alexander the Great marched not just with armies, but with vision, a kingdom crafted first in his mind's eye. Your own battles are no less epic. The stage is set, and your role is to play the hero in your own life drama. The tides of fortune favor the bold, the willing to confront the tempest within. The siege of your spirit is a call to arms, a demand to marshal your inner legions of resolve and wisdom. Action is the forge where dreams and reality meet. It is your sword and shield, your pathway to the conquest of self. So rise, for the world waits to witness your triumph, a saga written in the annals of courage and unyielding spirit. O victory! Remember Alexander the Great, whose empire was not built on hesitation but audacity. Each conquest began first as a mere vision in his mind, a vision that dared the impossible. He understood that the tides of war do not merely favor the brave, but the prepared, those who have trained their thoughts to harness the chaos of battle. In the storm of conflict, your mind must be an unyielding fortress. History is a litany of wars won and lost in the mind before they ever touched the battlefield. Reflect on the unshakable resolve of Churchill, who in the darkest hours of the Blitz summoned a nation to stand tall with nothing but words that turned fear into fierce determination. This is your moment to channel that same indefatigable spirit, see beyond the horizon of immediate struggle, and carve a future forged in the fires of your will. The course of history bends not to those who wait, but to those who dare to act, to transform inner turmoil into outward triumph. The future belongs to you if you dare to claim it now. Moment to channel the audacity of Alexander, who upon reaching the untamed banks of the Hydaspes viewed the turbulent waters not as a barrier, but as a challenge to mark his relentless pursuit of destiny. Understand this: every war, whether waged on battlefields or within the corridors of your own mind, is won first by the victor's vision. Caesar knew this as he crossed the Rubicon, a line of no return, driven by the fire of ambition, unyielding in his quest for Rome. In the theater of conflict, the true armor is inner conviction. Napoleon himself, standing amidst the snow-clad fields of Austerlitz, grasped this eternal truth: victory lies not just in strategic might, but in the heart's unbreakable will. So ask yourself, do you confront your trials with the resolute courage of those who forged the annals of history? The storms that rage are merely whispers, waiting to be silenced by the roar of your determined spirit. The battlefield awaits. Seize it with daring. As Caesar crossed that fateful river, he knew he was not just changing maps, but rewriting destiny with unyielding certainty. The world bends not to those who hesitate, but to those with the audacity to decide and act. Think of Churchill in the dark days of London, where shadows loomed larger than hope. Yet he did not falter, for he understood that resolve and rhetoric could illuminate even the blackest night. In the crucible of World War III, your battlefield lies within, the realm of thoughts and convictions. The greatest generals of history were masters not of armies, but of the human spirit. They sculpted victories from the clay of perseverance. The power to prevail resides within the one who dares to dream beyond the smoke of conflict, for every struggle is but a staircase to ascend, each step forged from courage and vision. Seize control of your mind as you would a fortress. Arm it with clarity, discipline, and relentless focus. For in the end, the world belongs to those who conquer themselves first. Their victories first in the theater of the mind. Alexander the Great, at the tender age of 20, envisioned empires beyond sight and seized them. His strength was not merely in numbers, but in the ardor of his vision. As you face your own battles, remember that courage is born not of circumstance, but of choice. During the stormy seas of World War II, Winston Churchill stood firm, his words a lighthouse for a nation adrift. Do you see the pattern, dear seeker of power? Each titan of history wove their destiny long before it unfurled. The battle is not won on the field, but in the heart that beats with relentless purpose. Seize the pen of fate. Ink your thoughts with clarity and unwavering resolve. The mind is a battlefield where the only enemy is your own doubt. In this war-torn world, rise as a general of your own life. Plant flags of ambition, conquer the territories of fear. Your kingdom awaits within, sovereign and invincible. On the eve of every great conflict, from the fields of Waterloo to the deserts of North Africa, the victors carved their triumph in the firmament of their minds. Consider Alexander, who saw not mere territories, but empires sprawling from his thoughts. Understand this: vision is not just the first step, it is the battlefield where every struggle is decided. The sinews of your resolve must grip the future with a tenacity that defies the doubts of the ordinary. It is in the crucible of adversity where the spirit of leaders like Churchill emerged, unyielding amidst the blitz. His mind was fortified by an indomitable will, a lighthouse in the tempest of war. Now, draw from this well of resilience, for in this looming World War III, your arsenal must be filled with unshakable belief, your mind a fortress against the chaos that threatens to engulf it. Act with intention, for every thought is a soldier in your grand campaign. Shape your destiny, or be consumed by the tides of history. Now, as World War III looms on the horizon, consider the blueprint laid by those before us. The battlefield is not merely a clash of arms, but a duel of minds. Recall Caesar crossing the Rubicon, facing uncertainty with audacity, carving his destiny. Much like Hannibal crossing the Alps, envision your path through the unthinkable. The heart of a warrior beats with courage, but the mind of a strategist leads him to victory. Understand the power of anticipation. Like Napoleon at Austerlitz, who outmaneuvered his foes with insight and preparation, his tactics were born of a vision that transcended present circumstances. In the realm of psyche, observe the power in every thought, a silent commander shaping your reality. Harness this force. Let no doubt infiltrate your fortress of ambition. The tides of history are molded by the relentless and the resolute. Stand firm, your mind as your greatest ally, for in this war it is the clarity of purpose that will ignite the path to triumph. The crucible of conflict, the mind is a warrior's most potent weapon. It was not the might of his army, but the foresight of his spirit that sculpted victory at Austerlitz. He envisioned triumph where others saw turmoil and confusion. You too must see beyond the chaos of your battlefield, glimpsing the victory that lies hidden within. Consider Churchill, who amidst the darkest hours of blitz and barrage, used words as artillery, forging resilience in the hearts of his people. His speeches were more than mere rhetoric. They were a blueprint for overcoming despair, a testament to the power of conviction. This is the alchemy of leadership, transmuting fear into courage, doubt into determination. It is the crucible of human potential. Know this, in every challenge, there lies an opportunity for greatness. Your mind must dance with the flames of adversity, never recoiling, always advancing. Seize your vision with unyielding resolve, for history favors the bold, those who dare to see beyond the horizon's edge, who craft their destiny with their own hands. As Alexander faced Darius at Gaugamela, he did not see an empire to conquer, but a destiny to claim. His mind was his battlefield, and every doubt was shattered by the sword of relentless vision. Imagine the dark night before a decisive battle. The heart pounds not from fear, but from the anticipation of triumph. In the storm of chaos, the eye of the hurricane is clarity. Napoleon knew this as he surveyed the fields of Austerlitz, reading the terrain not with eyes, but with insight. Success in any arena, be it war or life, hinges on the unyielding belief that the future is a blank canvas, awaiting the brushstrokes of the bold. Now, consider yourself, are you merely a bystander in the theater of life, or the director of your own epic saga? Harness the fire within, forge it into a weapon of resolve. History rewards the audacious, those who dare to carve their names upon its pages. History's unfolding drama, or are you the master artist sculpting destiny with each decisive stroke? Consider Alexander the Great, who at a tender age commanded armies with audacity, his mind a fortress unshaken by doubt. When faced with the impossible, he did not see barriers, but opportunities to carve new paths. The fabric of reality bends to those who dare to dream fiercely and act boldly. But beware, a vision without action is a mirage. Like Napoleon at Austerlitz, seize the moment when fortune favors the prepared mind. He knew the terrain both of earth and the human spirit, turning chaos into triumph. In this world where shadows of war loom, the battlefield is not just land but the corridors of your mind. Harness the power of strategic foresight and the steely resilience of a commander. For the tides of change do not wait for the hesitant. Stand firm with resolve akin to iron, and let your will be the sword that cuts through the fog of uncertainty. But action is but mirage, a mirage that fades without resolute steps to seize it. Remember Alexander, who wept for more worlds to conquer. His tears were the birth of empires, not their end. He understood the secret that every setback was merely a shadow cast by doubt. In the arena of power, hesitation is the enemy, decisiveness the ally. Consider Churchill, who amidst the smoke and fury of bombs ignited the spirit of a nation with words as potent as any army. His unwavering conviction turned chaos into unity, despair into determination. It is the mind that wields the sword of destiny. In the crucible of conflict, it is not the strongest who prevail, but those who master the psychological battlefield within. Warriors of the mind, they forge resilience from the anvil of adversity. As the storm of World War III swells, look to those titans of history. Harness their resolve, for it is your thoughts tempered by courage that will carve new realities from the stone of impossibility. Rise as they did, and let your deeds echo through eternity. Ye the fires of conviction that will light your path through chaos. Recall Alexander, who carved empires not just with swords, but with vision, sculpting destiny from the granite of his dreams. In the theater of global conflict, where the stakes are nothing less than civilization itself, you must wield the mightiest weapon, your mind. Let strategy and audacity dance the eternal waltz of power. When Rome faced Hannibal, it wasn't the strength of their legions alone, but the cunning of their tactics that turned tides. Envision, plan, execute, these are your imperatives. Now the shadows of tomorrow loom, a battleground of ideologies. Stand firm, for within you lies the spirit of the greats, those who dared to dream beyond their time. Seize each moment as Caesar seized the Rubicon, burning bridges of doubt behind him. Step boldly, armed with insights, as history's generals who knew that fortune favors the prepared. To triumph, you must first conquer the battlefield within, for every great leader was once a master of his own soul. The thunder of fate, reshaping destinies with each decisive stroke. Recall Alexander not for his conquest, but for his unyielding vision, an empire of unity forged from chaos. Such is the power of a mind resolute. In the maelstrom of World War III, let your spirit be as unwavering as Churchill's in the face of blitzkriegs when darkness threatened to engulf the free world. His courage was not born of circumstance, but of steadfast belief. Imagine a future shaped not by whims, but by the deliberate strokes of your will. Like Lincoln, who in the crucible of civil war crafted unity from discord, your task is to forge peace in the fires of conflict. Harness the energy of these tumultuous times, for they are but clay in the hands of the sculptor. Become the architect of your destiny, as Roosevelt did amidst economic turmoil, turning adversity into opportunity. The battlefield of the mind is where the true war is won. Arm yourself with knowledge, wield strategy as your sword, and let resilience be your shield. The world awaits your command. Chaos. Consider Churchill, who in the shadow of invasion wielded words as weapons, rallying a nation with unyielding resolve. Like a blacksmith, he hammered defeat into determination, forging a spirit unbreakable. In the theater of war, whether on battlefields or boardrooms, the victor is the one who transcends fear, converting it into a catalyst for audacious dreams. The mind is a fortress, and its gates must be guarded with the vigilance of a Spartan. History has shown us that those who master the art of mental tenacity command power over the physical realm. Napoleon himself, armed with strategic genius, etched his name into the annals of time, not by chance, but by an indomitable will. Now envision your battles, not as insurmountable mountains, but as stepping stones to greatness. The generals of tomorrow are those who mold adversity into opportunity, carving paths with the precision of a sculptor. Rise, for the world is a stage, awaiting your epic saga, your triumphs yet to be penned in the ink of destiny. By force, but by the clarity of his vision. Consider the trenches of World War I, where despair hovered like a specter. Yet it was not brute force that pulled men through, it was the power of the mind. The greatest generals etched their victories in thought long before they stepped onto the battlefield. Amidst chaos, those who crafted their destiny from the intangible fabric of their thoughts emerged as victors. In the theater of World War II, Churchill stood resolute against the dark tide, wielding words as weapons fortifying a nation's spirit. His speeches were not mere rhetoric. They were blueprints of belief that transformed fear into unyielding courage. Understand this. Wars are won first in the mind. Before the bullets fly, battle your own doubts. Forge your will as steel, a fortress against the siege of uncertainty. Imagine not just victory, but the very path to it. In this crucible of change, identify your allies not in the trenches, but in the chambers of your own heart and mind. For it is there, in that sacred space where wars are truly won, where history's greatest legacies are forged, ye realms of your mind. Picture Hannibal, who crossed the Alps, not with might alone, but with strategy and unyielding vision. His army faced obstacles carved by nature herself, yet his will was the architect of triumph. So too must you traverse the mountains of your own doubt. In the annals of history, true leaders understood that success in battle is orchestrated first within. Remember the iron will of Churchill, who ignited the fires of resilience in the hearts of millions amidst the dark storm of war. He transformed fear into a weapon of hope. Your thoughts are the generals of your destiny. As Napoleon conquered Europe with more than cannonballs, he wielded a mind sharp as any sword. Each decision was a step in a grand strategy, each setback a lesson in adaptation. Now, in your own theater of conflict, wield your mind with precision. Craft your strategies not on whims, but on unwavering purpose. In this arena, the victor is not the strongest, but the most resolute in spirit and clarity of thought. The stage of victory is set within the fortress of the mind. Churchill knew, as you must know, resolve is forged amidst adversity's flames, not in comfort's embrace. Reflect on Hannibal, crossing the Alps with a vision sharper than the cold winds against his face. His triumph was born not in numbers, but in undeniable purpose. Consider the silent strength of Gandhi, whose weapon was conviction, echoing louder than any cannon. His battles were fought in hearts, not fields. Powerful men like steel are tempered by pressure. In the crucible of conflict, potential is unlocked, a future sculpted by willpower. In the theater of global strife, understand this: the leader who commands himself commands the world. His strategy, sculpted from the clay of history's lessons. Your mission is to awaken that dormant power, to break free from the chains of complacency. The battlefield is not just outside, but within. Conquer it first. In the echoes of men who dared, find your resolve. Be the architect of destiny, not its victim. Genius within you, to forge a path through the chaos. Recall Alexander, who tamed the wild Bucephalus not by might, but by seeing the world from the beast's eyes. Here lies your first insight. Adaptation is the sword of survival. Look to the future's horizon, where technology entwines with warfare. Imagine leading like Churchill, whose words rallied nations, not because of the guns behind him, but the unyielding fire within his spirit. The lesson? Words can ignite or extinguish empires. In this modern theater, a general transforms information into intelligence. Consider the Cold War's silent battles of wits, where whispers turned into world-shifting decisions. Your challenge is to harness knowledge as your ultimate weapon. Now take action and cast aside the chains of indecision. Every moment of doubt is a battlefield conquered by clarity. Remember, in the game of power, hesitation is luxury. Onward with the resolve of Caesar crossing the Rubicon, you must dare, for fortune favors the bold. The true battlefield is not of steel and smoke, but of spirit, where the titans of thought clash silently. History reveals the architects of destiny: Caesar, who with a single decision crossed the Rubicon; Alexander, who wept for more worlds to conquer. These were not mere men of war. They were strategists of the soul, wielding the sword of decision with the shield of perseverance. They understood that the mind is the first armament, the pen the precursor to the sword. Now, as we stand on the brink of World War III, it is not the might of nations, but the will of individuals that shall carve the future. Picture yourself as a modern-day strategist, not merely in the trenches of conflict, but in the labyrinth of the mind, navigating the gray zones of doubt and fear. The enemy is not always external. Often it lurks within, the harbinger of hesitation, the specter of surrender. Your mission is to conquer not just the enemy before you, but the one within. Muster your resolve, for history favors the bold, not the timid. Our journey continues with the tale of Hannibal, a man who led his army over the Alps, but whose greatest triumph was not his elephants or strategy, it was his indomitable spirit. Faced with impossible odds, he did not succumb to fear's icy grip. Instead, he etched a narrative of victory in his mind long before his feet touched the battlefield. In the theater of war, as in life, it is not the might of arms that determines the victor, but the resolve in the heart of the warrior. Reflect on the resilience of Churchill during the Blitz. While bombs rained from the heavens, he kindled hope with every word, forging a nation's spirit of unyielding courage. Recognize this truth. The darkest nights give birth to the most radiant dawns for those who dare to dream with eyes wide open. Your battlefield is not of land and weapons, but of ideas and dreams. Rally your forces, your thoughts, and charge forward with unwavering determination. Now take your step into the annals of greatness, for only those who dare to fight the invisible battles of the mind can conquer the world. Lee your mental forces, for in the theater of the mind, wars are won even before the first shot is fired. Consider Alexander the Great, who with his indomitable will molded an empire with mere visions. He understood that to conquer the world, one must first conquer oneself. His triumph was not in the sword, but in his unwavering belief in possibility. Now the world drifts toward a storm of unprecedented change. Picture yourself as the captain of a ship on turbulent seas. To forge ahead, you must hold the compass of mental fortitude tight. As Caesar crossed the Rubicon, knowing there was no retreat, you too must make the decisive leap, for greatness lies beyond the river of doubt. In the crucible of conflict, the weak falter, the strong rise. Harness your fears and convert them into fuel. Remember how Churchill, faced with the shadows of war, ignited a nation with his words. Know this: the only true failure is the failure to act. The future favors those who dare, who rise above the noise and craft destiny with their own hands. Rise, like a phoenix from the ashes of hesitation. Consider Hannibal, who, faced with the daunting Alps, chose audacity over retreat. His soldiers, fueled by his unyielding vision, defied nature itself. Reflect on the Spartan warriors at Thermopylae, where a narrow pass became the stage for their immortal legacy. It was not mere numbers that held the Persian tide, but the unquestionable resolve, the unbreakable will of those who understood sacrifice. So as you stand on the precipice of your own Rubicon, ask yourself what fuels your march. Is it the fear of failure or the hunger for triumph? The battlefield of success demands your soul's full commitment. Harness the power of belief, for it is your most potent weapon. Realize that each moment is a turning point, each decision a step into destiny. The echoes of history whisper the truth. Greatness is carved by the hands of the daring. Move with purpose, driven by the knowledge that within you lies the conqueror of worlds yet imagined. Commitment. Consider Alexander, who upon reaching the shores of Persia burned his ships, signaling to his men that retreat was no option, only victory. This is the mentality you must cultivate, the steely resolve that sees no path but forward. Understand that every battle begins within the mind, where the seeds of doubt must be uprooted. When Julius Caesar crossed the Rubicon, he defied the Senate, knowing that true power often requires audacious leaps. It's the courage to risk everything for a vision that others cannot see. In World War II, Winston Churchill stood firm with words of iron, rallying a nation with speeches that became fortresses in the hearts of the British. Harness this power. Speak your dreams into being, for the universe listens to the fervent, Let history be your guide and resilience your armor. Every setback is but a stepping stone, every challenge an opportunity. March forward with unyielding determination, for it is only through the crucible of adversity that greatness is forged. Heed the lessons of the past, where the battlefield of the mind has always been the true theater of war. As Churchill's words became the armor of a nation, so too must your convictions become your shield. In an impending World War III, know that the strength of your resolve can forge alliances unseen, resilient as steel. Recall the wisdom of Sun Tzu, who taught that the supreme art of war is to subdue the enemy without fighting. It is the art of influence where the psychology of fear and courage dances upon a razor's edge. Your mind is the strategist plotting a course through treacherous waters with clarity as your compass. History's great figures, Caesar, Alexander, and Roosevelt, seized moments of crisis as opportunities to redefine their destiny, not by might alone, but by the audacity of their vision. In your darkest hour, channel their spirit. Let adversity be the crucible that forges your unyielding will. Now, rise and craft your narrative. In this epoch of uncertainty, create the future with each decisive thought, each deliberate action. Edge. Consider the cunning of Hannibal, who led his men across the Alps, defying the impossible not through brute force, but through the strategic whisper of belief. Understand this, the battlefield is but a stage, and our thoughts are the actors. In the theater of war, the mind is the greatest weapon, sharper than any sword, more resilient than any shield. Reflect on Julius Caesar, who crossed the Rubicon, knowing that retreat was not an option. His conquest was not of lands, but of limitations. He taught us that audacity births destiny. Embrace the turbulence of change as Alexander did, seeing the Gordian knot not as a barrier, but an opportunity to redefine the rules. In every challenge lies your rise. In the chaos of World War III, remember the quiet strength of Churchill, whose unwavering resolve turned despair into triumph. So, warriors of thought, arm your minds, forge alliances with purpose, and let your vision pierce the fog of war. Your time is now, a new era awaits those bold enough to seize it. In the chaos of World War III, remember Caesar crossing the Rubicon. It was not just a river, it was his destiny. His soldiers, once hesitant, were swept by his audacity. Each step forward a declaration of inevitable triumph. In the crucible of conflict, your mind must be your fortress. As Patton gazed upon the battlefield, he saw not the carnage, but the canvas upon which to paint victory. Know that fear is the enemy's ally, but resolve the iron shield. Consider Churchill, who turned the darkness of despair into a beacon of defiance. When London burned, his spirit ignited. He knew that in every ember of destruction lay the seeds of a nation's rebirth. Harness your inner Hannibal, who faced the insurmountable Alps. His vision transcended the peaks, his strategy a symphony of audacity. Let your mind carve paths where none existed before. The world shapes only those who dare to wield its chaos. So stand as the architect of your fate, transforming the battlefields of life into arenas of unprecedented victory. Consider Churchill, who turned the darkness of despair into a beacon of defiance. When London burned, his spirit ignited. He knew that in every ember of destruction lay the seeds of a nation's rebirth. The canvas of history is splattered with the hues of disruption, for it is the tempest that tempers the steel of resolve. In the crucible of conflict, heroes are not born, they are forged. The blueprint of triumph is etched in the resilient mind. Reflect upon Hannibal, who dared to march elephants across the Alps, confronting the impossible with sheer audacity. The path to greatness is often littered with obstacles, yet those who anchor their spirit to an unwavering vision navigate these trials with the compass of conviction. Human history is a narrative of rise and resilience, a testament to the power of a mind that refuses to yield. In the chaotic symphony of world war, let your thoughts be the maestro, commanding the orchestra of destiny with the baton of inner strength. Remember, the world bends to the will of those who dare to shape it with thought and tenacity. History of destiny. Recall Hannibal crossing the Alps, not with fear, but with indomitable will. His vision sliced through treacherous paths, shaping history with each step. In every war, the silent battlefield lies within, the war of thoughts. The great men who've conquered understood this: Napoleon, Churchill, men who bent adversity into triumph. For when the storm of World War III rages, remember, power's greatest weapon is not the sword, but the unwavering mind. The unseen battles you wage inside decide your outer world. Reflect on the stalwart resolve of those who stood before us. From the trenches of Verdun to the skies of Britain, they faced the abyss and emerged, not by chance but through choice. Seize the mantle of mental resilience, fortify your mind against doubt. This is your battlefield command. Harness history's lessons, wield the weapon of belief, and rise undeterred. As the world shifts, let your thoughts become the architects of victory, crafting pathways where others see barriers. In chaos, find your clarity. In fear, your fortitude. Of history, for it is the forge where men are tempered. Consider the indomitable spirit of Winston Churchill, who, with nothing but words and will, inspired a nation on the brink. He understood that courage is not the absence of fear, but the mastery of it. A torch passed from generation to generation. As you stand on the precipice of your own battles, let the lessons of the past illuminate your path. Picture Hannibal crossing the Alps, defying the impossible because he knew that the only limits are those we place upon ourselves. This is your call to arms, not with swords, but with unwavering belief. Harness the psychology of persistence. Like Alexander the Great, who wept for more worlds to conquer, never succumb to complacency. Transform adversity into your ally. Every setback is a stepping stone, every failure a lesson. In the theater of war, mental resilience reigns supreme. Cultivate your mind as a fortress. Let logic be your compass and passion your fire. This is how you succeed, not just in war, but in life. Those set by the mind. Hannibal's defiance was not mere audacity, but the embodiment of mental fortitude. He saw not mountains, but stepping stones to destiny. In this he revealed a truth eternal: the world bows to those who persist beyond fear, who see through illusions of insurmountable odds. Consider the Spartans at Thermopylae. Outnumbered, they faced their fate with a singular clarity of purpose. Their stand was a symphony of willpower echoing through time, reminding us that true strength lies in unwavering resolve. They taught us that courage is the forge where legends are made. Now turn to the future, where the battles of tomorrow are fought within. The arena is your mind, a crucible of ambition and doubt. Channel the courage of those who came before, and let it ignite your spirit. The path to victory is not found in avoiding hardship, but in embracing it as your ally. Arm yourself with relentless determination, for in the chaos of World War III, it is the disciplined mind that bends reality to its will, crafting a legacy that time cannot erode. Death is not in numbers, but in unwavering resolve. Imagine yourself as Leonidas, eyes fixed on destiny. It is in these crucibles of conflict that the mind sharpens its edge, where doubt is a luxury no warrior can afford. Recall the words of Churchill, whose voice became a beacon during the darkest hours of World War II. He taught us that fear is a reaction, but courage is a decision. Your mind is your battlefield, a realm where the seeds of triumph are sown. In the theater of the mind, you are both director and actor. Do you see mere chaos, or do you script victory? History favors those who do not flinch in the face of overwhelming odds. Visualize Caesar crossing the Rubicon, committing to a course with no retreat. Feel the pulse of his resolve. The future belongs to those who act decisively, who forge their path with relentless focus. Now ask yourself, what do you stand for? Will you be the architect of your destiny or a spectator? Embrace the power within and march forward with purpose. Standing before the Rubicon, his decision a whisper that roared through ages. He didn't quail, he crossed, redefining destiny by action, not hesitation. The mind harbors its own battlegrounds, where the generals of doubt clash against the infantry of faith. In these battles, victory belongs to those who script their own triumphs. Recall Churchill, amidst the shadowed specters of blitzkrieg, forging the spirit of a nation with words of iron. His resolve was the shield, his vision the spear. In the crucible of conflict, men are not forged by armor, but by unwavering conviction. What the world calls madness, history often names genius. The tides of war reflect the tides of thought, each moment an opportunity to seize or squander. It is the inner warfare that defines the outer victories. When the storm rages, remember the steadfastness of the eye. In stillness lies the power to command the chaos. Plot your course not by stars of chance, but by the constellations of resolute will. Your world awaits. Will you step forth and conquer it? Of Caesar, who stood resolute at the Rubicon, not paralyzed by fear, but fueled by the fire of decisive thought. His crossing was not just of a river, but of destiny. Understand this: the battles of life are won not by those who merely stand on the battlefield, but by those who have trained their minds to see beyond the immediate chaos. Consider Churchill, who during the darkest hours of Britain did not merely hope for the dawn, but ignited it with words that became the very beacon of resistance. Recognize that in the theater of war, it is the mental fortitude, the unwavering belief in one's potential, that carves paths where none were thought possible. In every conflict, internal or external, ask yourself, are you the conqueror or the conquered? The choice, my friends, is forged in the crucible of your own mind. Embrace the power of decision. It is the sword that cleaves through doubt and hesitation, for in decision lies the very essence of progress and the heart of triumph. Every battle begins long before the first shot is fired. It is born in the mind's crucible, where doubt is either forged into strength or melts into despair. Alexander the Great, before he conquered empires, conquered his own fears, seeing not the enemy's numbers but his own unwavering resolve. In the echoing silence of a warrior's heart, the greatest battle is waged. And like the unyielding rock that withstands relentless waves, your spirit must stand firm against the torrents of uncertainty. History, my friend, is a testament to this, that those who win wars first win their own inner battles. Churchill, in the darkest days, spoke not of defeat but of victory, rallying a nation with words that became swords. Action without belief is an arrow without a bowstring. So I ask you, as you stand on the precipice of your own struggles, to draw back the bow of your mind, aim true, and unleash your potential with unyielding faith. For it is not destiny that decides your fate, but the resolve within you. Hat drew power from deep wells of conviction. His words were catapults, launching the will of a nation beyond despair, transforming shadows of doubt into pillars of resolve. What Churchill knew, what all men of impact know, is that the battlefield is as much in the mind as on the land. Picture Alexander, who not only conquered territories, but also the hearts of his men, forging loyalty through shared dreams of glory. His tactics weren't just military, they were psychological. He understood that a warrior's strength is doubled when his spirit is unyielding. In today's world, the battles may be different, but the principles remain unchanged. The future belongs to those who can gaze into chaos and see opportunity, who embrace the storm as a harbinger of change. The modern battlefield demands not just strategy, but adaptability. So craft your vision with precision. Let your mind be your castle, fortified against the onslaught of doubt. Arm yourself with the lessons of history, for they are the blueprints of triumph. How stood the architecture of the mind? How fear could be transmuted into courage, how doubt could be vanquished by a shared vision. This is the essence of triumph in the theater of the mind. As the clouds of conflict gather, recall Roosevelt in the heart of the Great Depression. His fireside chats weren't mere speeches. They were lifelines thrown to a nation adrift. He knew the battles of the soul are won before the first shot is fired, with words that heal and inspire. In the crucible of turmoil, mastery over one's spirit is the first frontier. Gaze upon Churchill, whose bulldog tenacity illuminated the darkest days of Blitz. His secret weapon was not found in the arsenal, but in the resolve to never surrender. History bows to such indomitable spirits. Now, in the shadow of World War III, cultivate that same steely resolve. Transform chaos into opportunity and let your mind be the fortress no enemy can breach. Arm yourself with the wisdom of ages. Let strategy and serenity be your allies. This is your moment to carve destiny with the chisel of your will. Arena of thought, where whispers become roars and visions forge reality. As leaders map their triumphs amidst chaos, so too must you craft your destiny. Recall the storm-tossed seas where Columbus dared to dream of lands unseen. His compass was not of stars alone, but of an unyielding faith in the impossible. The lessons of yore echo in today's tumultuous landscape. The likes of Churchill, facing the shadow of despair, never wavered in his resolve. "We shall fight," he declared, "on the beaches, in the fields, and in the streets." His power lay not in mere rhetoric, but in the indomitable spirit that refused to concede defeat. In the theater of war, the greatest battles are waged within. When Alexander gazed upon the breadth of his conquests, he wept not for the lands yet unconquered, but for the realization that true victory lies not in possession, but in mastery of self. Thus, as you stand on the precipice of World War III, let the stories of the past be your anchor. Harness the tempest of your mind, channel its fury into focused will. Remember, the world is a mirror reflecting your own convictions. Now, rise. With the clarity of 1,000 suns, stride forward with purpose. Ignite the fire within and let its blaze illuminate the path of resilience and triumph. This is your call to arms, to conquer not just the battlefield, but the very essence of your being. Forge a legacy of courage, for history is written by those who dare to believe,